So without further ado, I guess I should start off by introducing myself. I know a lot of you, a lot of familiar faces in here, but I joined Magento 6 months ago, so I haven't had the opportunity to meet all of you yet. Hoping to make up a lot of that ground, both here today in the session and then later on when we have drinks. One of my roles here is really to help run and manage the technology and hosting and performance partners program, and that's what we're here today to talk about. So a couple things I want to cover. One is I want you guys to understand and make sure we're aligned on some of the feedback that we've gotten from technology partners, both over the last few months, but really throughout the Magento lifespan. And really want to make sure that we're aligned on what that feedback is and where you guys are really looking to us to help further your businesses, further your relationships with merchants, and together have a real win-win relationship. Two, I want to talk a little bit about how we think our program's going to evolve over the next few months. A lot of changes going on at Magento, a lot of announcements this week, which hopefully a lot of you were able to make the keynote yesterday and again today, and got a little bit better understanding, probably a lot of questions out of that, but got a little bit of better understanding of where we're going and the direction we're going. And I want to let you know we're evolving the Technology Partners program to stay in line with all of that and aligned with where we're going into the future. We're not going to make wholesale changes overnight, but we are going to evolve and try to move the program ahead and make it, quite frankly, more of a win-win-win relationship, right? Win where Magento can win, our partners can win, and quite frankly, our ultimate goal is to make the merchants win. So I want to talk a lot more about that today. And then we'll give a sneak preview to this group. Is the first group to hear this, but a sneak preview into exactly what that means. I'll talk a little bit at a high level, but we'll get down to brass tacks pretty quickly and talk a little bit about what we're actually putting into play. And we recognize, and I will be totally transparent and upfront, some of this will answer questions, and some is going to raise some questions. Not all of which we'll be able to answer today, but we have a communications program in place, and the team is ready over the next few weeks and couple of months to really answer those questions and talk individually to each one of you as we evolve the program and start to roll it out. And then finally, as part of this session, as part of the RSVP, we did get some questions in, and we thought the most expedient way to answer that was to actually just throw them up here and start talking through some of those questions. So we'll save those for the end. We'll do our best to start answering those questions. And as I mentioned earlier, there's also an executive Q&A session with the broader management team in a little while with the broader partners. And so to the extent you have further questions you want to ask the whole group, I think if it's appropriate for the whole group, you're more than welcome to do that later on. And if not, find one of us. I'll introduce the team here in a little while. And I don't have to tell you guys not to be shy, but don't be shy and track us down and feel free to ask away. So first of all, I want to talk a little bit about what we understand you guys. Our team has spent a lot of time with you both over the last few months and over the last few years. And really, what are you guys looking for? What are the challenges that we're trying to solve for you as technology partners? And given our relationship with merchants, your relationship with merchants, one of the things we know and understand is something you're looking for us to help with is sales and distribution. We want to do that in a way, and I'm going to ask Joy and John to come up here in just a bit. And we really want to do that in a way that fosters thought leadership with our partners, but gives you access to them. It gives you access to them both, through traditional channels, but also through some new ones that we're developing. And again, John and Joy will talk about those in a minute. But our goal is to create the best of the best in the ecosystem and make sure we communicate out that thought leadership that you guys have. Each one of you in your own respective areas has a lot of experience in and thought leadership in those areas, and we want to bring the best of the ecosystem, front and center to our customers. And we've got a number of different ways, some of which we've explored with you guys and certainly leveraged in the past. But we want to really amp that up and also explore some new ways. And I'll get to some specifics in that in a little while. But just know this is front and center for us. We understand that as partners, this is one of the key things that you guys are looking for. Secondly, one thing we hear a lot is engagement with Magento. You guys want to understand what we're looking to do, where our objectives are, what our strategy is, who our target segments are, and how you can work more with us. And we understand that that's important, and it's important to us to have engagement with you. And so we're working through designing both through Teams, through partner portals, through other things, so that you guys have communication on new products that we're rolling out, tweaks we're making, and you guys are engaged with us. You guys are integrated into both our properties and directly into our products. So you guys are able to leverage the best of Magento, and we can combine the best of what you guys have with what our products are. Now, this one is near and dear, I think, to a lot of people's heart, and something I'll talk a little bit about in a moment. But historically, one of the biggest changes that we're making that I'll talk about here is, in the past, there have been some challenges with conflicts of extensions, et cetera. We're introducing today, and we'll be working over time, both through the marketplace and through the partner program, to make sure that we are verifying extensions over time and really helping and working with you. A lot of you today in this room have gone through this program, and hopefully most of you have found it very helpful. I know some have needed a little bit more work than others, but we want to really help everyone up their game on the integrations into Magento, so that we can help verify that those extensions are, cover the basics around security, but also, more importantly, quite frankly, over time, are really make sure that these extensions are performant, they don't conflict with each other, so that, as partners, you guys are spending less time integrating into Magento customers, you're spending less time on support issues, and most importantly, the merchant is getting a much better experience. That's something that both of us are very focused on making sure happens. And so there'll be a lot more on this, and I'll talk a little bit further about it. But we understand and heard from you guys that you wanted help making sure that the integrations into Magento were better and they were more uniform. And then finally, one of the things, and I probably just take a step back here, and when we look at the technology partners, there's really two big groups of folks, right? There's one that you've got a product that you're trying to link into Magento, and you call that a SaaS, but a more product-focused company. And then we've got technology developers that are really focused on developing extensions that really expand and provide new services and opportunities in Magento. And visibility into the roadmap for both of you is very important. You want to understand where we're going for a couple of reasons. One, to make sure that as we as a part of M2, as part of the new roadmaps that we're working on, we're going to be doing more frequent releases, several per year. Hopefully, in general, those don't break anything, but we understand that sometimes, that will have an impact on your particular area, your particular extension, and we want to make sure we're communicating that ahead of time, because by the time we release, our partners should be ready to go. It shouldn't be we release, there's a gap of time where it doesn't work, and then you guys are able to fix it, and then no, it should be we release, we've already communicated to you, you guys have gotten advance opportunity to make sure that your extensions work well, and as necessary, communicate with our team to make sure there's a best-in-class integration. So that's something we want to continue, we're going to work on and make sure that there's a plan in place so that you guys can stay on top of that. The second thing is, we also want to make sure we're not working on the same things. So particularly when it comes to some of our extension providers, we want to make sure we're communicating outwardly so that you guys know what we're working on and what's coming next, so that we can align our roadmaps, and so that we're not working on the same things, working on the same functionality. Although we don't mind healthy competition, so there may be cases where that makes sense, but we want to give you guys the choice, and as partners to work together to figure out what makes the most sense there. And while we always will have functionality that may overlap, and we think that's great, because in some cases that may work well, and ours may work well in certain verticals, and yours may work well in others, but we want to make sure we're communicating that out far in advance so you guys can align resources and make appropriate decisions. So, but ultimately all of this, I've talked a lot about your needs, but really ultimately where we want to go is really focus on the merchant needs, because ultimately that's what we're trying to do. We want to make a better merchant experience through this program. People don't just buy Magento. I say a lot, people don't just buy the platform, they're buying the ecosystem, of which you guys are a very, very key component. So we need to make sure we design any program really around the merchant, because ultimately they're our joint customer, and we need to make sure we're solving their needs. We need to make sure we're driving growth for them, reducing costs for them, and really providing them with leading edge technology, because our goal together should be providing best-in-class technology for our merchants so that they can kick ass and they can grow faster on our platform than any other platform. If we do that, we will win. And so, there we go. So that is what we're trying to do, and that's what we're trying to do with this program, is making sure that we're aligned together so that we can achieve this goal. And then some of the nuances of day-to-day activities, some of the nuances of how we work together will all be worked out as long as we're collectively driving growth for our merchants and making sure they have best-in-class experiences. All right. So I've talked a lot of high-level stuff. Hopefully I went through that pretty quickly. So you guys are still with me. But so what are we trying to do? We're trying to evolve our partnership. So it's one where, quite frankly, we have got a deeper partnership together. I'll be honest. One of the things that I don't like about metals and gold and silver and platinum is it signals not what we're trying to do. It signals a marketing relationship. It signals something where we're really not trying to create a deep partnership and a win-win situation where both parties are incented to work together. So we'll announce some of those, which if you read the brochure ahead of time, you'll see some of the changes there. Some of them are superficial, but they're really there to signal a different meaning of what we're trying to do with this program. So we want to enable those deep partnerships. We want to be able to add value and share leads with each other, be able to track those leads. Going back to my comment earlier about really delivering sales and marketing opportunities, we want to do that. We want to do that in the right way. We want to do that in a way that drives a better merchant experience, a way that drives merchant growth. So we're not looking just to share databases and blast emails out and do stuff like that. We're going to do that in a way that is good for the merchant experience, because ultimately, as I said, if we make the merchant win and we satisfy the merchant and delight the merchant, we're both going to win. Verified extensions, a big opportunity for us. It's something we've invested a lot of time and effort in. I'll talk about the program in a little while. But we're not going to be in a situation anymore as partners, whether you're just in Marketplace or we have a deeper relationship with you, where you will not have gone through our verification program. So we will verify and stamp all of our partners' extensions. And I'll be totally transparent with you. We're going to evolve this program over time. We're going to increasingly develop tools that enable you as partners as well as us to make them better and better. But out of the gate today, we've already got a great program in place, and we're going to continue to improve on that going forward. And then finally, which John and Joy will talk to a little bit here, we really want to create opportunities where we can inspire our merchants. And I know that sounds corny, but that is what we're trying to do. We are really trying to, together, really leverage this ecosystem that we have and really bring the best in class. You guys are experts on tax and shipping and the 20 other categories that we track, and we want to make sure we bring that best in class experience to our merchants. So, what am I talking about? We're going to announce, a two-page document there is a program called Accelerate. It will have some similarities to the existing programs, but we think we're making some very important tweaks to really revolutionize what we're trying to do here and create some of the deeper partnerships that I've been talking about. So we've got new names. There will still be sponsorships with Imagine and our other events that will look very similar to they are today, but that is not what this is about. This is not about a sponsorship opportunity. This is not a pay-to-play program. This is a program where we deeply embed you into our ecosystem and work with you on an ongoing basis to make sure we drive leads, we inspire merchants, and we deliver a better experience overall to our merchants where they're able to grow their stores, delight their customers, because together, if we do that, we will all win. So we're going to get into a few more details. There's a few on your sheet there. I'm going to ask, so the program here is really aligned around three different levels, if you will. And I want to be clear here. This is an opportunity. Different partners will find different levels that are the right ones for them. We want to work with partners across the ecosystem, across that spectrum. And we really want to work to find the right level of integration, the right level of partnership for each of those individuals. I won't read through all of these in detail. You guys have sheets in front of you there that kind of highlight some of the different benefits, some of the different commitments that we're making to you across these different spectrums. We are going to, over the next couple of weeks, provide all of you with more details on the program itself, really spell that out in a much longer document, and then work with you all individually to find the right opportunity, the right level of integration into our ecosystem. But we wanted to announce it to you guys today. This has not been announced more broadly. You are the first to kind of walk through it and hear it. There are some partners that are not here today that we will be communicating out this program directly to. And then over the next few weeks, ultimately, we will start to more broadly publicize this. But we wanted to make sure you guys were able to see it first. And what you're seeing up here is different levels of integration where we're providing support and opportunities to you both through our marketplace, the recently announced marketplace, but then more broadly. And as our commitment to you evolves, we're expecting the commitment from you guys to grow as well and provide more and more opportunities across our ecosystem. That's everything from sales and marketing to technology integrations and beyond. And ultimately through that, we're hoping to create much, much better merchant experiences. So with that, I'm going to ask Joy to come on up, and she's going to talk a little bit specifically around the sales and marketing. Some of this stuff is very familiar, and some of you have kind of walked through this before, but I want to provide you guys with some tangible things that we're working through and we'll work with you on over the next few weeks, months, years, as we really help you guys develop your businesses, as you help us develop our businesses, and ultimately we deliver a better merchant experience.
Great.
Awesome.
Sure. Okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the co-marketing that we want to do. And I think you've probably seen some of these kind of laundry lists before from other partners or us. So I think what we really want to do with our partners is produce really quality content. And I think the way that we're going to do that is by looking at each other's business objectives, looking at our customer objectives, and figuring out our customer needs and looking for the intersections of how we can work together to really help out our customers. So we can do white papers, we can do customer stories, guest blogs. Here's the list. But the reality is that we have to do it in a smart way. And different partners are going to do different things differently. So some partners, webinars might be the better way to go. Other partners, it might be research papers or white papers. And I've had some fabulous conversations here at Imagine about what will work and how we should work together. So one of the premier benefits for our premier partners is a dedicated landing page, and Dotmailer has actually been our guinea pig. This page is not live yet, but we're working on doing a dedicated landing page that will be in the directory so that they'll get additional exposure and they'll be able to showcase some of their contents and do a lot more lead gen out of that page in the directory. And so they've been really gracious. So they're going to be the first one that's going out the gate. And so what we're going to do with this is see how it goes. Quite honestly, let's see how it goes, and then we'll roll it out with our other premier partners if we find it's really working well. But I think having kind of a test and learn approach is the way to go. So last month, we actually had 2 webinars going out the gate, and it was kind of, these were 2 of the first projects that I worked on being new to this group. And we did a webinar for Dotmailer as a premier partner, and we actually did a really serious, robust program campaign for this webinar, and I think it worked really, really well. I think it was successful. They got lots of registrations from that, which we handed over to them, and I think it was a really quality webinar. So I think that worked really well, and I think we can roll that out with some of our more major partners. But we had Sparrow, who's had a lower sponsorship level, and we actually didn't host it ourselves. They hosted it. But what was great is that we kind of worked with them on their presentation and the approach that they had, Kanisa and I think that their presentation was so much better, and they got really good leads from it, and they were really pleased. So I think we need to take a thoughtful approach with these webinars, and also think about avoiding redundancy and avoiding our customer, our merchants, making sure that they don't have, they're not exhausted from us approaching them too often with certain webinars, but that we have kind of a good pace. And we think about how maybe in one webinar we can feature multiple partners that maybe talk about business from end to end. So be thinking about that, be thinking of creative ideas where we can pair it together where it makes sense. Like obviously we're not gonna have two competitive technology partners in one webinar. That's probably not necessarily a good idea. But I think that there's ways we can work together, which makes it more interesting for the merchant. It makes it more interesting for them if there's multiple people on a webinar than just some person talking for the entire time, unless it's a really good webinar. So this is what I've learned actually in the last couple of weeks, and especially at Imagine, is that we really have to pre-plan our content, and I think that's going to start with dialogue and understanding what's coming out the gate from your end, and then what we have planned. And so we have to enhance that communication. Because what happens is that, let's say, one partner wants to talk about a specific customer but Magento has already written multiple articles. We probably don't want to do it because it's not going to be as, it's going to be a little lackluster if it's something that we've already talked about a lot or showcased a lot. So I think pre-planning will be great. We have guest blogs, we have customer success stories, so we just need to get ahead of them and plan them well. And then I think obviously events are pretty self-explanatory. I mean, you guys are all here at Imagine. You get the power of in-person events, whether it's at your stand or you have a session or doing more sponsorship activities. But it's getting ahead of this stuff and scheduling it and planning for the year. So what are your regions that you really want to focus on this year? What types of customers do you want to reach? I think that we can help people pre-plan where they have activities, and also the right activity rather than just taking on a sponsorship at the very end at the last minute and it's not quite the right fit. So we want to do a little bit better with that. Oh, and also I'm going to bring John up here because he's going to address some of the customer and sales teams, because we know that you want to get in front of our teams and also get in front of our solutions partners. So we want to talk about that.
Thanks. Is my mic on? Awesome. Well, first of all, before I even go into my whole spiel, I just wanted to thank everyone here. It's the first time I've seen all my partners in the same room. And I just wanted to take the opportunity to say I appreciate your loyalty and your support in the program. We've gone through a lot of changes. Hopefully I try to keep you guys from a lot of the craziness, but I really appreciate it, and I wanted to say thanks for coming here and supporting us. So customer and sales teams. Being from the CSG team and been with Magento for 4 years, I realized how important that exposure and that visibility is to those teams specifically. You guys come out, you do lunch and learns, and that's really important, but I felt I wanted to kind of take a step back and say, what else is really important, right? Just beyond just coming in and presenting and saying what you guys do, also making sure it's productive. You guys come in, I want to do an on-site meeting, really looking at it more strategically and tactically and saying, who do you want to meet up with? What team, what person, what channel manager? So that to me is really important, not only just having you guys come in and presenting, but also making sure that we make it as productive as possible and you guys meet the right people so that we can truly, truly align our teams together. So that's really my goal moving forward with you guys. So the next slide is, yes, so one of our, I guess, this is really, for me, I think the most amazing product integration for partners that we have ever rolled out, and we've never done this before. So this is really a premier placement within the admin panel of Magento 2. And what I think is really awesome about this is that pretty much you guys have now the reach for all of the entire Magento merchant ecosystem. Whether they're on community or enterprise, when they log into the admin panel, those premier partners will be listed. Right now you see .mailer, but over the next couple of weeks we'll have the new premier partners up there as well. Really exciting. We actually launched, we announced them the other day, so we're very excited about adding to this panel. And not only do you have the visibility as far as a listing, but you also have the opportunity, as Joy mentioned, to create that landing page, right? So that landing page will have a link driving those merchants to the landing page, as well as your marketplace profile page as well. So additional touch points, more visibility, more exposure for you guys. I think really sort of connecting all those dots, all those touch points is really, really important. So that's something I'm really excited about. Again, it's a front and center. It's truly in product. And I'm really excited about working with you guys on it. So, and thanks to Dotmailer for, being the first partner to help us out with that. New partner directory. So this has been a very interesting product. A lot of people here know. It got a little dated, got a little stale. We had a lot of categories. We wanted to make it more simplified. We wanted to, and this is obviously a current directory page, so obviously this will evolve and change. This is from a couple weeks ago. So we really wanted to create, more visibility with our roadmap. We want to create and have more content. We want eventually to have our partners really showcase in a really positive way than they did before. We're hoping to increase the number of partners that are listed above the fold, which is, I think, really, really important, especially from a merchant experience. When they go, they want to see and see who we've got in our directory. And also the opportunity to share resources. Bless you. So just something, one more change that we're really excited about. Partner portal. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention the directory. We brought that in-house. So really, we were on an external system. We're fine. We brought all that internally so we can really manage and capture and sort of help and communicate a lot of that stuff a lot quicker than we did before, now that it's internal. Same thing, and that kind of is a good segue into the partner portal, which is actually also in-house. Very excited about that as well. So we can actually now better communicate. We can actually control it better. There's an opportunity for us to also share leads, like Joy was talking about before, in a much more efficient way. We actually have an internal CRM. We use Salesforce, which I'm sure everybody here uses. To give you some insight into what I'm working on currently, we're actually going to be able to link up. I'm creating a workflow so that we can link up our Salesforce with the partner portal. So as we're able to share and identify leads, we can actually push those leads from our Salesforce directly to your partner portal and then notify our partners that you've got leads, log in and follow up. So we're really excited about that. I think it's something that we've all been wanting to do, and we didn't have the opportunity to do it until we moved everything over internally. So it's just some insight and another exciting big product initiative that we've been working on. And then, so that's my spiel. Mark Leonard, will you take it over and talk about the Extension Quality Program?
Great. And for those of you that didn't quite recognize him, that's actually John Carmody, the partner manager. He hasn't really worn a tie before, but just so you know, that.
I actually bought this specifically for this day, so.
Good, good.
Tie is both new for all you guys, just so you know. I clean up well.
I'm not going to let you do me. I have my questions.
So that's a little bit of some of the sales and marketing that we're working through. Wanted to give you guys some specific examples, and more broadly, Arndt, can you stand up? Would you mind for a second? This is Arndt Boyd. For those of you that don't know him, yeah, we can all clap for him for sure. If you want to know more broadly across the organizations, one of the big investments that we're making is around demand generation and sales and marketing. Arndt is one of our. You can sit down now, Arndt. Is one of our key guys who is really working on demand generation for us. And so what we're doing is really working through our base of merchants that we have, and doing so. If you want examples of this, go sign up on Magento.com today. You'll start to get a nurture campaign that will show you. We'll start highlighting some of the content that we have both about our products as well as some of our partner products. And we're going to be incorporating a lot of the things that you saw into that as we more broadly really work with our more broadly our marketing team across the organization to make sure that technology partners are deeply embedded into that. And then want to talk through a little bit here around something that a lot of you have already experienced, particularly if you're on Marketplace. And I mentioned this earlier, in addition to sales and marketing, we're really spending a lot of time around the technology integrations, making sure that they are best in class. And what we've designed right now is what we're calling the Extension Quality Program. And that program really comes at two different levels. One is one that's a little bit more of an automated check. And so we run that through a product, which we're continually innovating, that checks for some of the more basic stuff, but very important things around plagiarism. We want to protect people's IP. Security, et cetera. And that's run, everyone, just as being a part of Marketplace, will run through that. And over time, like as I mentioned, we're going to continue to innovate around that and make that better and better. Then as a select partner, there is an opportunity for registered marketplace-only users to do this on an extension-by-extension basis, but included in any of the economics and your commitment as part of a select or premier partner, we do a much more extensive check. And for those of you that have been around for a little while, it was known as other names like partner audit, et cetera. But we're really kind of taking that through a more extensive diagnosis that involves having key engineers actually review the code and go through that and really provide feedback. And that's things beyond kind of what I would call the basic level, but things around making sure the code's performant, it's well designed, et cetera. And the goal here is really to make sure that these extensions on their own run really, really well. But also have a lot fewer conflicts across the ecosystem, which I'm sure we can all appreciate. And I won't name names, but believe it or not, there is a lot of value that we're adding here, and people would be surprised at how much effort is involved in kind of going through this. And the revs on our dev team with the dev teams of our partners to really help improve these and make these better. Because over time, we really want to make sure, again, going back to that merchant experience, that's as best as possibly can be. We're incentivized to do that, and certainly you guys are as well. And so would love feedback on this as we kind of go through this process. We're going to continue to iterate this, make this better and better. We want to constantly improve the integrations and the extensions that you guys are developing into our ecosystem. So what does this all mean? What's next? What's going to happen? So first of all, your integrations, your partnerships with us today will continue, right? As if you want to, John and team will be reaching out over the next few weeks and the next few months to really figure out what you guys are interested in, what's the best fit. I mean, Joy talked a lot about this. We want to make sure on a marketing level as well, what are some of the custom marketing plans we'd put together for each of you individually, but also just at a higher level from a partnership point of view, which is the best fit. And at a minimum, your contracts can continue. What you've got with us, we will honor through the life of the contract. Around July, we're going to relaunch the program. We want to give everyone time, new badges, new branding, all that fun stuff. So we're going to give everyone time to kind of incorporate that in, give our team time to talk to all of you individually to make sure we've got the right program in place, the right design for you. And then it will impact things, certainly some basic stuff like badges, branding, things like that but we'll work through that. And then more broadly, as we develop marketing plans, et cetera, that obviously can have a much bigger impact on what you guys and where we're focused going forward. But we'll work through all that. Give us a few weeks. John, we gotta let John and team rest for a few days, but then we'll pick that up and we'll be reaching out to each one of you as we kind of work through what this looks like. We obviously want feedback from you through that process. And we'll really help to kind of customize the offering for each one. And then finally, before we jump to a few questions here, I just wanted to make sure everyone knew the team. I know a lot of you already know these folks, but these are the individuals who really on a day-to-day basis have really worked hard to help design what this program looks like and roll that out. And so I'll just ask each one of them to stand up. Feel free to reach out to them as appropriate and work with them, particularly not only today, but also in the future. So first of all, Andy Barker, where is he? Most of you know him. He's the payments guru, checkout guy, and don't be charmed by his Minnesota smile. Be careful. Joy, you already met, who really runs product marketing for the technology program partners. She's kind of the key linchpin around a lot of the value that we add to the ecosystem. Rachna, where is she here? She is not here, but you can see her picture. She runs she runs product marketing for the marketplace itself. There's a lot of effort that's going to be going into driving demand through the marketplace directly, and so there's a very specific set of activities that we're planning around that, and she's driving the charge there. Shahadat, you want to stand up, say hi? I don't actually know what he does, but he's a great guy. John, you guys know John Kanisa. Many of you, I'm sure, know Kanisa. She's been running with the Silver and Gold partners, and will continue to work with you guys as we kind of evolve the program going forward. Maura makes sure the marketplace is actually running smoothly and everyone's getting in there appropriately. So a lot of you, I'm sure, have already connected with her. If you have questions about getting into marketplace, the dev portal, et cetera, she will be more than happy to answer those. Vic, where are you? There he is. Vic has designed the extension quality program, works with all the engineers internally, as well as is the interface for you guys externally as he works with each one of you going through that. And please, any feedback you have on that program, provide to him. We really want to make that as painless as possible for you guys, but at the same time, we want to make sure everyone's achieving a level of quality there that we can all be proud of. And then last but not least, Travis. Travis formerly really ran with the hosting partnerships. Going forward, he will continue with that, as well as some of our performance partnerships and a lot of the cloud partners that we announced over the last, I guess, 24 hours. Time flies. He'll continue to kind of manage those and drive those integrations and make sure those are working smoothly. So with that, we had a couple of questions that I want to make. I'm sure there's lots of questions on people's minds. We had a few we wanted to try to cover as quickly as possible in the last few minutes that we have here together. So I'll ask John and Joy to come back up, and we can just walk through a few of these questions, if that makes sense. And then, time permitting, I'm happy to take a few other questions as well. But if you have some, we're more than happy to answer them in the executive Q&A or in the reception afterwards. Or if not, feel free to email us or reach out to us, and we're more than happy to answer those. So first question. The first question we got was why the new partner program? I'll take that one. So really, I talked about it a little bit earlier, but while the partner program we had in place today, I think, was very beneficial for a lot of folks, drove a lot of value both for our merchants, for our partners, and for Magento, we really wanted to create a program where we could have deeper partnerships. Like I said earlier, people are not just buying the Magento platform, they're really buying the ecosystem. And so we wanted the opportunity to make sure that we're highlighting a lot of the cutting edge technology that you guys are working on, you guys are developing, and make sure that's embedded into our platform, make it very easy to integrate, and do it in a way that doesn't cause conflicts amongst yourselves, where there's a lot of time and effort spent to do those integrations, manage those integrations. And so we wanted the program to really start aligning that and create a real win-win-win situation, if you will, where we're creating best-in-class merchant experiences by aligning ourselves closer together. So I wouldn't call this a wholesale change in how we operate. There are definitely some superficial changes, like we're getting rid of metals and we're renaming it with new names. But then there are really some other fundamental, more deep changes that we're talking about, and really trying to highlight and outline those to you guys. But we really want to, particularly around the sales and marketing and the extension quality program, really improve what we're doing there to ultimately create that better merchant experience. Next question. What happens to my existing contract? John?
I'll take that one. So one of the many important things for us as we thought about this program, and obviously the main goal was to create a great program that you guys could take advantage of and we'd be proud of, but it was also to make sure that we were respectful of the existing partners, right? And what we're going to do with you guys and partners who have either just renewed or had just bought into the program. So what we, like, I think Mark had touched on it before, is, especially with all the partners that we work with directly here, we will honor the current contract, right? So whatever the commitments are, whatever we haven't delivered on, I assure you that we will focus on that, execute on that, and then upon the renewal of your term, we can then have a conversation about what you want to do. Do you want to continue in the program? Do you want to be a marketplace partner? Or do you want to possibly upgrade, or hopefully not, but obviously leave the program? So those are the options, and like I said, we're committed to making sure that we execute on everything that we need to for you guys.
And obviously, we do something sooner too as well. So we'll work with you all individually over the next few weeks to figure out what the right path forward is. Next question: how do I become a Premier partner?
Yes. Talk to Travis, talk to Shadad, and Andy Barker.
I think so. I'll take this one first. I think as we work through, as I talked about a little bit earlier, we'll work through with each of you what makes the most sense, what you guys are looking to do, and make sure we align that with what our goals are. And I also want to take the opportunity to answer this. I want to make it clear, Premier Partners, we are looking, one of our goals, both of Marketplace and more broadly, is to really help curate down. And a lot of the feedback we got from merchants is, one along, extension integration is one thing we're improving, but also there was just too many, the world of extensions was just too many, right? 9,000 plus in Marketplace. And really we're helping to curate that down. I want to be clear though today, we're not trying to, silo everyone into one particular solution. That's not what we're trying to do. Magento will always remain an open and flexible ecosystem that encourages innovation, encourages new partners. But what we want to do is help for our merchants, those that are doing really, really well and are really best-in-class technologies, which I would put everyone in this room in that category. We want to make sure that you guys get front and center with the merchants and you guys get those opportunities. So we're not looking, some of the questions we get is how many Premier partners in each category, et cetera. We're not, there's no particular fixed number. We just want to make sure we curate that down. And the answer is probably not one, but the answer is not 10. Right? And so we want to make sure we create that curated set of opportunities, but we're still going to provide merchants with choice. Because ultimately there isn't, typically, I'll never say never anywhere, but I'll never say never. There typically is not, a one-size-fits-all for anyone. And so we want to make sure we continue to remain open and flexible, but at the same time, we also are hearing from our merchants that they really need help to curate that down to a set manageable number, because otherwise there's too many choices for merchants to make when they're initially onboarding. So, but they'll always be free to do whatever they want to do, right? Magento will always be open and flexible. Next question. Why is revenue part of the new partnership arrangement? I think that means revenue share. So one of the things that we're trying to do is really align ourselves with our partners so that we have the right incentives, both for our partners and for us, to create the opportunities, make the investments to really enable this great merchant experience that I've been talking about. The current arrangement, quite honestly, doesn't do that. It doesn't provide us with the investment opportunities we need to make, both in our extension quality program on the technology side, as well as on the sales and marketing side. And so by aligning around this new arrangement, we're able to make those investments, we're able to develop those marketing programs, and we're able to drive that sales and marketing, that better merchant experience. And the one thing I will say is we will also, that puts a lot more burden on us in the past to deliver value to you guys. And that's something we're looking to do going forward. I've answered too many questions. How will the new program improve the merchant experience?
Oh, okay. I can. There's I think in two ways, right? One is through the marketplace and the directory. I think we're going to showcase less choices, but better choices. And I also think that look and feel and kind of the flow of both those, the partner portal and the partner directory, and then also marketplace are better, and they're going to get better even further because we're bringing a lot of that stuff in house. I also think we're really going to focus on our customer needs moving forward in our marketing programs. So we need to think about, what's top of mind for them, and how do all your technologies fit into that, and then also on our end figuring out what you guys need as well. I mean, I think if we take kind of a consultative approach and really plan out the strategy and pre-plan, I think we're going to deliver a lot better marketing efforts.
And I just want to add
oh, yeah.
also, I just want to also add too, I think the better the program, that affects also in a positive way, that affects the relationships you guys have internally with our sales teams and our customer success teams. And the program then, it evolves and it actually affects their conversations in a positive way as well. So.
All right, how many more questions do we have here? You guys had a lot of questions.
Oh, yeah. So I think initially your point of contact should really be, your marketplace manager, or if you're, in marketplace, or if you're, a partner, a technology partner, it should be through your account managers there as well. But I think once we get some plans in place, like let's say you want to do something more on the marketing side or more on the sales side, or with our internal teams, we can start working together, and then when it's appropriate, start working on those projects together directly. So I think initially it should always go through your account managers, just so your partner manager, just so we know what's coming down the pike. I think that's important.
Yeah, and today that's largely Kanisa and John, but John's going to be building that team out over time, so we can make sure we spend the time and effort that we need with you, and make sure we develop kind of customized, as Joy talked about, customized marketing plans, et cetera.
Oh yeah, and in the partner portal, we're gonna put some forms into place where if you have requests, it will go through a system, and that way we can record all the requests, because I think sometimes requests were going in different emails and stuff like that, and it wasn't as organized as it should have been. So that's something I think we're gonna build after Imagine to get back to work.
I think too, especially because I've worked with many of you guys in the room, and I think for me, I'm excited because it actually allows us to really sit down and plan and strategize what we want to do together moving forward versus here's a list of deliverables. You may or may not want them, but here you go, right? I think this is an exciting time where we can actually sit down and really have those really great conversations and work together.
All right, I think this is the last question. How can we be sure Magento will push opportunities our way? That's your question, John.
So I touched on it earlier with one of the product integrations, specifically around the partner portal. So one of the things I said that I was very excited about was finally being able to sync our CRM with the partner portal. And right, so obviously with this new program being very performance-based and very much about sharing opportunities and sharing leads, we didn't do a great job of that in the past. And everybody who's been a partner here for a very long time, I've been with Magento for a long time, we know that really wasn't tracked and managed properly. We didn't really report on that. There was no data behind it. It was like, well, we might have given you a lead, whatever. We didn't know where it went. So what I wanted to do was to take a step back. How do we take the tools we have internally and really use those in a way that we didn't do before? So like I said earlier, Salesforce is now synced up to our partner portal. We'll be able to have our team trained so that if they're talking to a merchant, if they're talking to a prospect, we can actually enter that lead via Salesforce, and it will be pushed through a partner portal. What that does for me on my end, I'm able to then report on all those leads, work with my direct contacts at the partners on the partner side, and really work with you guys to manage where those leads went, how they're doing, have you closed them, have you not, why did they close? Why didn't they close? How can we help you better? So that's sort of the approach that we're going to have moving forward. And I'm very excited about that. I think everybody, the one thing that I heard from all partners when I said, what can we do better? They said, track and give us more leads. So hopefully this will work out that way.
Yeah, and one of the onus we want to put on you, and we'll do this through the partner portals, we want to know what happens to those leads, right? So we can help work with you guys to figure out what's working, what's not working. Things change over time, et cetera, but we want to constantly be evolving how we interact, work with you on who the right customers are, because in any business, dumping a bunch of leads on you is almost as helpful as not giving you any at all. And so we want to make sure that we're providing you with high quality leads, and so need to work with you over time to make sure that what we're sending and how we're interacting is fruitful and productive for you guys, and is leading to obviously higher conversions. All right, I'll just wrap up here. So I think
4 minutes.
just to cover, we'll have some more time later today, but really wanted to make sure you guys understood that we're spending a lot of time talking to both you guys as well as the merchant ecosystem to make sure that we understand ways. I think Magento was built in large part because of you guys, right? And the success of Magento and the platform and our merchants that are out there, our mutual merchants, because we've been working with you guys. And I think we've want to make sure that we're constantly innovating and evolving our program to make it better. And this isn't something that's going to stop. We'll continue to do that. And I'm hoping that with the next iteration, we've made some improvements and aligned ourselves even more. But we'll continue to do that. Over the next few months, we'll be working with all of you to design and roll out and pick the right program for you guys, and then starting to put that in place as soon as possible. But we know we won't get it all. We won't get it right for everybody right out of the gate, and so our doors are always open and want to work with you to figure out how better to work together. Ultimately, selfishly, because we really want to make a better merchant experience, and so that's our end goal, and that's what we're looking to do. So thank you very much. I know there's probably a lot of questions, so feel free to reach out, catch us here, or over the next few weeks. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.